Good morning, everyone. Hope you are enjoying your stay at BSF so far and hope you learned something new. And I also hope that things that you learned or saw could also translate into your career choice. So, a lot of hopes. Anyways, welcome to BSF, and I'm Sid Tiwari. I'm in US crop marketing. I will give you a little bit of brief background, what I am trained in, and what I do now, and what has been my journey with BSF so far. So I have trained. I'm trained entomologist. So I have a PhD in entomology. And for those who don't know what entomology is a science of insects, bugs. And when you think of bugs, you know, you always think of all the nuisance that bugs create in our lives. But in fact, actually, bugs are very useful for us. All the apples and all the fresh vegetables and fruits that you see are a result of pollination, which is primarily done by insects, pollinators, bees, such as bees. So during my PhD at Virginia Tech, I was looking at corn borer, European corn borer. It's one of the most damaging pests in corn. So I did some research on that pest in corn in Virginia, and then I moved to Florida, where I studied on Asian citrus psyllid, another big pest of citrus. So when you think of Florida, you think of citrus, right? Florida used to be the biggest citrus state in the country several years ago, not anymore, because of Asian citrus psyllid. And Asian citrus psyllid is the pest by itself of the citrus trees, but then the bigger damage is from the disease that it vectors. So insect also feeds on the trees, but it also vectors a bacterial disease called greening, and which kind of led to a big decline of citrus industry in Florida. So there is no cure for this disease. So once the trees get this bacteria, they pretty much, they have a limited timeline, like they will last only for 7-8 years. So my postdoctoral research at University of Florida focused on managing the Asian citrus psyllid, which is the vector, the insect, and then also the disease, greening disease that happens in the citrus trees. And after that, my journey with BSF started in 2012. So, gosh, it has been 12 years and it feels like yesterday. I guess, when you are having fun, time goes by very fast. So, my first job with BSF was at Dinuba Research Station. It's located in Central Valley in California. Beautiful place. And I would recommend you all to definitely visit that place because it was very close to Sequoia National Park, Yosemite National Park, Kings Canyon National Park, and then, and they were all in the Sierra Nevada mountains. So beautiful place. I spent 2 years there. So I was the station entomologist. My job at that time was to lead the entomology insecticide projects mainly. Some of them were research projects, some of them were development projects. So we would get these products. These actually, they were not even products. These were like early phase research analogs at that time. And we would confirm whether it looks good in the field or not. So we'll compare different analogs that chemists would provide to us in a very small quantity, and we would do trials under field conditions, under greenhouse conditions, and then make a decision which analog looks the best in the California conditions. So this was one of the global stations that BSF has. BSF has other global stations also in like in India, in Philippines, in Brazil, Spain, Germany. But unfortunately, we closed that station a few years ago due to various reasons. But it was great. It was great role that I had there. And from there, I moved to RTP And then in RTP, I was as a technical global manager, where I was actually again working with different insecticide projects, both in the research phase and in the development. So if you think about a development of insecticides or any pesticide, it takes about 13 years and it costs about $300 million. And then it goes to different phases. So when it is in the early research phase, chemists are basically producing all these analogs, which are slightly different from each other in terms of the structure, in terms of the functional groups that are attached to the molecule. And then we do testing, screening under lab conditions at different rates. And again, at very low, like in ppm, from 100 to zero point 0.1 ppm or 0.01 ppm. And the best looking analog under lab conditions then gets to the field conditions. And that's where we test under our own labs or fields, which are, BSF owned, because these products are not registered anywhere yet, right? So we have to conduct them in a very controlled environment. And then from there, then still it's in the research phase, but then you again to see if that the best looking analog, which was under the lab condition, translates well in the field conditions also. And that's why we have different global stations, because we want to validate those best looking analogs under different conditions, in conditions that are in India, in Brazil, in Europe, in Germany, and in the US. So when I was global technical manager, I was managing some of the projects that were very early in the research phase, and then some of the projects that were in the late development phase, where I was working with the marketing team and the sales team from different countries, trying to understand the scope and the value of that project, like how big the market is in Brazil, how big the market is in India, how big the market is in different countries, so that we can actually calculate the business case, do some business case that this would be the opportunity if we take this analog or this product to Brazil or to other countries in the world. So I did that. That was a great time. And then I also did my MBA from NC State. And then I fully, came into this marketing role. This is a country-based marketing role. So my role is pretty much around those three P's, price, product, and placement. And I work with, and this is a great role because you are working with so many different teams within the organization. So you work with sales teams, which is spread throughout the country. You work with the regulatory team, you work with the production, you work with the supply chain, you work with everybody, and then you kind of make sure that your product gets placed in the right place. So there are a lot of things that you need to study about your customers, your segment, your market. And so you also work with a lot of external companies which help in developing your marketing campaign, marketing research. So yeah, has been great. So I manage most of the insecticide brands again in this role also. And then I also do some fungicide brands. That was in short my background. I just want to also give you a message that, my small message for you would be that, you are already aware of your strengths and your interest. Try to also identify the goal, align your goals with your strength and interest, and then, also look for experiences. I mean, this is a time when you can expose yourself to so many experiences. So get something, especially, takes you out of your comfort zone. And then once you start applying those, for colleges, and when you start writing those essays, try to put everything in that essay that, a small paragraph, a few sentences around each of those experiences. So yeah, thank you, and great. Hope you have a great time here, and all the best. Thank you. Bye.